Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is October the 14th on Monday, 2024. And what's on my mind today is honoring choices. On a pretty regular basis now, I'm stretching into the reality I'm creating that honors the choices that anyone makes, especially me. So if I'm honoring or accepting is honoring, as far as I can see, when I'm accepting the choices that other people make, then it leaves room for me to accept the choices that I make. And as I see it, we are all individuals, and we all learn through karma, which gives us a way of seeing the results of our choices. We all learn through making choices. So even if I disagree with the choice that someone is making, my view may be limited by what I can see, but the important thing is what they can see. And that's what their choices are based on, what they can see. And my choices are based on what I can see. So I'm growing in that respect. And I'm observing all of the feelings that I have related to that. And when I can hear somebody talking about the choices that they've made, I feel all sorts of things while I'm listening to those choices. Well, for instance, there was a few days ago, and a couple of guys sitting in a hot tub, and I had asked each one of them what they thought about this current situation, and it seemed to turn on a valve for them, and so they spilled out all of the conspiracy theories and all of that sort of thing that you hear people talking about on the news, but here it was right in front of me. And I was experiencing all sorts of things. The biggest thing I experienced was sadness. But still, I have to respect the choices that they made. That's where they are in their process of understanding themselves. And they're part of a large group of people that may need the experience of having someone in the main office of this country who's thinking only of himself. It is a sad situation, but that's the reality. And so I have another talk on this platform, We Are Valuable Media, about who runs the country. Us as in we, if you want to, us as in we are running the country, if you want to hear it. And I would like for everybody to hear it before the election, because the choice of who runs the country is in reality not who runs the country. And I won't go into that here, but listen to what I have to say on that if you would. And use your own reflections for that. And I am learning to respect the choices that I've made. That's the most difficult one. And respecting other people's choices is, I think, just practice. The practice that I can use for myself. And there was a young lady I was acquainted with recently well, still acquainted, but she's leaving. I was talking to her at the YMCA, and she's leaving, and there's a lot of questions on her mind. And of course, I've offered what I can, or I've offered what she may be ready to hear. I don't really know. But rather than to lean in too much to try to influence her decisions, I'm more observing how she is going about her learning, similar to me going about my learning at a much younger age. And whatever mistakes or whatever experience that she attracts to herself is for the purpose of her learning. And I'm learning more and more that it's not prudent of me to get in the way of that. I don't want to get in the way of that. I can imagine the best for each person that I meet, but I'm learning that I can respect where they are, and if I can respect where they are, then it opens the door for me to respect where I am. And no two people are in the same place, because, as I see it, we were all given everything in the beginning, and there's a unique way each person has worked with that and used that or misused it, and each person is in their own place of learning, or their own grade in school, if you will, and cannot be compared to another. So I'm learning to appreciate the choices, and we've got an election coming on. That's the 2024 presidential election is coming very shortly, within the next 3 weeks. And I am preparing myself to respect the choices of the majority. And I realize that it may not be pretty. And so I'm making room in myself to accept the outcome rather than to try to dictate what the outcome needs to be or should be. I know I can see what I want, but I don't think I have the right or the responsibility to decide for someone else, and they for me. So I'm appreciating the uniqueness of every living thing, and that includes people. The choices we were each given everything in the beginning, everything. We're lacking nothing. What I see of what I have is different than what I have. And that's where most people get hung up, is because they're in the process of wishing that they had more than this guy over here, this guy over here. They're missing the point that they've had it all from the beginning. So we just need to look within to find the treasures, and that's where I'm discovering a lot, and encourage other people to do so, and that's what I do these talks, is to, if I can get something out of this circus called life, then it's possible for other people to do so as well. And I feel good about that. In fact, I feel good about most things. Yes, I have disappointments, but I'm learning to put those disappointments into perspective. You know, if this person would just do what I wanted to do, then I would be happy. Well, I have to let go of that because my happiness does not need to depend on anyone else. And it doesn't. So every time I catch myself or most times anyway, when I catch myself in the process of wanting someone else or something else to be different than what it is, I said, wait a minute. For what I need to see, it is exactly as it needs to be, because what I'm looking at is a reflection of what's going on in me, or what's trying to surface in me. And my view of this situation is relative to what's going on in here. And that's all I need to know. And I think that's all anyone needs to know. So I'm learning to respect, in a different level, I think, a more acute level. I'm learning to respect choices. Because as a book, the book that I'm working on, started in 1994, and of course I'm not finished with it yet, but the title is A Matter of Choice. The subtitle is Correcting the Common Cold Through Attitude Adjustments. And I have a talk online about that, and I've talked about that in another talk. You can download that if you like. It's called, just put in Winston Cunningham, Control of the Common Cold Through Attitude Adjustments, and it'll come up, give you a chance to download that, or at least hear a sample of it. But this is what I'm working on, and this is writing the book. Even though I'm not sitting down putting it on the page, this is part of my writing this book. And everybody has their own book to write. This is Winston Cunningham. Thank you.